Good day, ma'am. My name is Jomar Tiago, and now I'll be discussing the Tongan language. What are the consonants of Tongan language? What are the vowels of Tongan language? What is the lexical category? What is syntax of a Tongan language? And what is the morphology of a Tongan language? So Tongan, Lifaka Tonga. Native to Tonga, significant immigrant community in New Zealand and the United States. Native speaker is about 187,000. 96 of it, 96,000 of it is in Tonga. 73,000 elsewhere, primarily in New Zealand, USA, and Australia. Tongan have a language family. First is Australian, Malayo-Polynesian, Oceanic, Polynesian, Tongic, and Tongan. The writing system of the Tongan language is Latin-based. The official status, official language in Tonga. It uses the word verb, subject, and object. The Tongan language has an accent root in the Australian language brought to Tonga around 1500 BCE. At this point, Proto-Polynesian began to form in Samoa, but there seems to have been an offshoot group who quickly developed Tongan and the other language. So before we go, what is the history of Tongan? The earliest attempts to transcribe the Tongan language were made by William Scotten and Jacob Lee, mayor of the Dutch East India Company when they first arrived in 1660. They transcribed a limited number of nouns and verbs using phonetic Dutch spelling and added them in growing list of a Polynesian vocabulary. Abel Tasman, also the Dutch East India Company, attempted to converse with the indigenous Tongans using vocabulary from this list when he arrived in Togatapo on 20 of January 1643. Although he was poorly understood, likely using words added from different Polynesian language. So, here we go. Tongan have 17 letters, 5 alphabets, and 12 consonants. So what are the vowels? A, E, U, U. Consonant is F, H, K, L, M, N, G, P, S, T, V. Pronouncing the consonant, you add A to the end. For example, Fa, Ha, Ka, La, Ma, and etc. Before we proceed to the identification of consonant sound and the vowel sounds, where does the Tongan language came from? For those who will like a bit of context, Tongan is a part of Polynesian branch of the huge Australian family of language. Its closest relative language are Samoan, Tahitian, Hawaiian, Nuuian, and Maori. The same variety of Tonga or Whakatonga is spoken across the islands of Tonga. With no religion variants other than of the islands is Nifau'u. The language in Nifau'u, which is the Tonga, northernmost island and closer to Samoa than the nearest island group Vavua, is Nifau'uan, which has aspect of Samoan mixed in the dialect. Tongan was the first written by missionaries in the early 19th century, which has of different spelling system. The current spelling system for the Tongan was officially proclaimed by the Privately Council of Tongan in 1947. So we can see for this is a consonant sound. So what are the consonant sound? So here they are. Voice nasal labial is ma. Voiceless plosive labial is pa. Voiceless continuant is fa. Voice continuant is va. Voice nasal alveolar is na. Voiceless plosive alveolar is ta. Voice continuant alveolar is sa. Voice nasal velar is nga. Voice plosive velar is ka. Voice continuant velar is la. And voice continuant glottal is ha. Always remember the consonant sounds. You will always add a. For example, is ta, sa, ka, and la. So here we go to the vowels sounds. So a is a low central unrounded tense vowel. E is mid-front unrounded tense vowel. U is mid-background lax vowel. I, high front unrounded tense vowel. And U is high back rounded vowel. The Tongan language is exclusively phonetic that is easy to say. Tongan words are spelled the way they are pronounced and pronounced the way they are spelled. In the first lesson, there is a pronunciation of each letter in Tongan alphabet, including the mysterious Fakao. In the glottal stop, there are only two Tongan consonants, which are they likely to be found difficulty at first by a person who speak only English, and they are NG. For the sound of NG is sing, the glottal stop. It is important to master the glottal stop, or the fakao, because it is only changes the sound of the vowels, it also changes the meaning of the words. For example, a and a thus pursue different sounds in the words anga, behavior or attitude, and anga, or shark. The glottal stop or fakao can be either be placed in the front of vowel or between two vowels when this is done at the beginning of a word. It has the effect of a lightning in the pronunciation. Example, allow. When they it placed between the vowels inside a word, it produces an abrupt sound as if you have suddenly put on the brakes. Example, fa, a. Because you put fakao on the fa in the between of fa and a. So fa, a. There are only 5 Tongan vowels, but there are 4 different way of pronunciation in writing of each them. The first way is a standalone vowel, and the second in the vowel with a fakao. The third is a vowel with a talui, and the last one is the vowel of fakao and talui, the mixed item. The talui a bar across the top of the vowel. So example, a. So the talawi you will put a bar in the above or the top of the a. Indicates the vowel as a long vowel. The long vowel is pronounced as though the speaker is holding the sound of for twice the time or the length as the normal length. Tolu is similar to fakao in changing the meaning words. For example, ka, to cheat, kaka, to climb. In some words, a vowel may have both fakao and toloy. Example, la'ala, la'a, sun or sun. If the tului was not there, then the word will be pronounced as la'a. La'a is hold oh my gosh, pronounced as la and doesn't not mean anything. Therefore, it is very important to take notice of these two signs, fakao and talui. In Tongan, two consonants cannot come together without a vowel between the sound. Represented by the ng is not two consonant but one. It is simple sound, not compound one. However, 2, 3, 4, or even more than 4 vowels may come together without the intervention of a consonant. Example, ulawi, ulawi. Lastly, no word in Tongan can be end with a consonant. So here we go to the Tongan alphabet. So, a as in father, or how to say that is ah. E as in men or hen, how to say name is E. Fa as in fat or fought. Ha as in hut or ha. I as in machine or I. Ka nearly as in a kettle, but somewhat suggests a time of a G as in get, or they pronounce as ka. L similar to I in leave. The intermediate is usually pronounced with the plea of the tongue, or fa, fa, fa. M as in men, or man. N as in note, or note, and they pronounce na. NG as in singer, not finger, or nga, singer. O as in born, pronounced a little further back in the throat, born. P as in pod, only aspirated somewhere between P in pad and B in bad. S as in sit. T as in ten, only aspirated, there is faint suggestion in the D in the initial position. U as in root, only shorter and without off glide. V as in very, or va. So now we will go. We discuss the four types of vowel, and now we will be more discussed it. So we have a stand-alone vowels. Number one is a, as in father, only shorter. E as in bet, or somewhere between and bait. I as in machine. O as in born, pronounced a little further back in the throat. U as in root, only shorter and without off glide. Vowels with fakaua, or they put asterisk. So a as in aha, aha. E as in elephant. I as in in. O as in orange. U as in ulala. Vowels with tului, where they put bar on the top of a vowel. So A as in equal to a calm, calm. E nearly equal to a very, very. Or I in fairy, fairy. I very nearly to I in machine, or E and C. O nearly to O in a story, or ow in a sow, so. O in a sow. U very nearly to U in flute, or U on soon. So we will be talking more about the vowels with Tului and Fakawi, the mixed version. So they put aspirate and the top, a bar on the top of a vowel. So A as in amen, or amen. E as in egg, egg. I as in easy, easy. U as in oh no, oh no. And U as in soup, soup. After we done to discuss the four types of vowel, we will now move to the consonant, and we will be mixing short vowels and long vowels. So first, F is fa, fi, fu, fu. That is the short vowels of fa. The long vowels of fa is fa, fi, fu, fu. The H. The short vowels of H is ha, he, hu, hu. And the long vowels added to H is ha, he, who. For the K, we will be add short vowels like ka, ki, ku. And the long vowels that we will add to the K is ka, ki, ku. For the letter L, we will be add la, li, lu. And for the long vowels, la, li, lu. For the M, mi, mu. For the long vowels, mi, mu. For the N, we will be added the short vowels, na, ni, nu. For the long vowels, na, ni, no, nu. For the NG, we will be added the short vowels, nga, ngi, ngu. But in the long vowels, nga, ngi, ngu. For the P, pa, pi, pu. For the long vowels, pa, pi, pu. So in the long vowels, you will be open your mouth clearly, or pa, sa, si, su. Whereas the short vowels, you will just only put some only quiet sounds. So if we will be add long vowels in the S, we will be having sa, si, su. For the T, we will be added the short vowels, which is ta, ti, tu. For the long vowels is ta, ti, tu. And for the last is V, or the va, vi, vu. And for the long vowels, va, vi, vu. Syllabification. Each syllable has exactly one vowel. The number of syllable in a word is exactly equal to the number of vowel it has. Long vowel indicates with a taloy or makron. Count as one, but may in some circumstances be split up into two short ones, in which case they are both written. Tuloy are supposed to be written where needed in the practice is maybe seldom done. Each syllable may have no more than one consonant. Consonant combination are not permitted. The NG is not consonant combination since it represents a single sound. As such, it can be never split the proper hyphenation of pakatonga. Tongan. Therefore, is a fa, ka, to, nga. Each syllable must end in the vowel. All vowels are pronounced, but an I at the end of the utterances is usually unvoiced. The pakawa is a consonant. It must be followed and except at the beginning of the word precede by a vowel, unlike the glottal stop in many other Polynesian language texts. The fakao is always go to the phonological process. Stress normally falls into the next last syllable of the word with two or more syllables. Example, mo, he, or sleep. Mo, henga, or bed. If, however, the last vowel is long, it takes the stressed. Example, kuma, or mouse. Stress on the long a. The stress also shifts to the last vowel. If the next word is an enclitic, example, fali, or house. Fali, falini, this house. Finally, the stress can shift to the last syllable, including an enclitic in the case of the definitive accent. Example, mohiga, mohinga, that particular bed. Falini, this particular house. It also here that the long vowel can be split into two short ones. Example, pu, or night. Puu, puuni, this night. Puuni, this particular night. Or the opposite, maama, light. Mama, mamani, this light. maamani this particular life. So here we go to the syntax of Tongan language. In studying various phenomena of ingrativity, we mentioned that Tongan shows both morphological and semantic ingrativity. In terms of case marking, Tongan shows an ingrative pattern of case marking in full NPS or noun praise, while showing an accusative pattern on pronouns. As for syntax, certain syntactic rules such as pia coordination and relativation apply exclusively to S and O, or subject and object. With regard to coordination, a split pattern is found unlike pia coordination. Mo coordination applies to S and A. In this chapter, we will introduce basic of the Tongan syntax, emphasize how ingrativity is interrelated with other syntactic phenomena. Like in other Polynesian language, productive morphology is very limited in Tongan. In terms of derivational morphology, some of the most difficult affixes are faka, which indicates causes fi aki, which marks reciprocity, and I, which indicate transitivity. So the example of this is hella, which is the adjective of Tongan. And here in English, it's called tired. So hella is equivalent to Tongan is tired. Other example is ita. That also seems an adjective or angry for English. Tokoni. Tokoni is a verb and to help for the English. Tokoni is verb for Tongan, and for the English, it is also verb which is to help. Next one is how would you make adjective into verb form in Tongan? So which is example is fakahela. Fakahela is in English we translated to make someone tired. So that is the translation of fakahela in English. Next one is fiita aki, or to get angry with each other. So for Tongan language, they can elevate the adjective into verb. Like the for example is fe ita aki, or to angry with each other. Next one is to ko nii, or to help someone. So as we can see that adjective they can be formed as verb. Tongan doesn't show any agreement in number, person, or gender except for a few. Intransitive verbs that agree with the subject in number. Example, ala u, or go. Ala u, or go. So they put like this. Ala u. And how mine, or come. Come is how mine. As for noun praise, a noun is preceded by an article, either definite he or she, or indefinite ha. Although Tongan has both definite and indefinite articles, the definite articles do not necessarily indicate that the arguments of is definite. In Tongan, definite article is the unmarked option and can be interpreted as either definite or indefinite. Definiteness is indicated by the definitive accent, which is placed on the final syllable of the NP. Thus, in the object can be understood as either definite or indefinite. Tongan language is a VSO language. Why would I say? We assume that the order VSO, or the verb subject object, arises because verbs undergo obligatory V to I to C movement. The VSO orderly is fairly rigid as long as all the arguments involved are full NPs. As it will be shown shortly, however, the order VSO is not written in pronominal arguments. Pronouns, as mentioned above, the regular VSO order is not retained if a construction contains pronominal arguments. This is because pronouns are required to appear in a particular position, either immediately preceding the verb or immediately following the verb. Pronouns in Tongan are classified into two subclasses according to the position in which they appear.